Hello, I'm Anti-Derivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch in Infinite Combinations, number 93, where we're continuing our very special journey through all of the episodes of Star Trek, the original series. But before we begin talking about this week's episode, which is Wink of an Eye, I have to mention I just received news this morning that that we lost Gary Graham, and who, of course, among other things, was Ambassador Saval. And so we're very grateful for what he's given to us, and we send our condolences to his family.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's a shocker.
Yeah, it is. I'm so sorry, guys.
And me too.
But
Sorry.
I think I had to mention it, and so that means, well, he deserves way more time than just a brief mention on this show. So we will talk more about him on Friday.
I look forward to it because he was such a great contributor to Star Trek, and just apparently an all-around gentleman. And so we will discuss in depth. Hopefully, we'll talk about the Enterprise Vulcan episodes on Friday.
Yeah, we'll talk more about his life. And is that a 3-parter?
I think so.
Okay, then that'll work. We'll do that. But for today, we're watching the original series in production order, and it's Wink of an Eye. It's the 14th episode we're watching of season 3. It first aired on November 29th, 1968. And it's a really, really weird episode.
Mm-hmm.
The Federation comes into the ability to go into hyperspeed mode and get out of it, and then never uses it for any reason ever again. But we'll get into that as we talk about the episode.
If you stub your toe in hyperspeed, you're going to die.
Well, for sure, there's a risk, but there's also a benefit. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of minutes, since we did lose 30, you might notice this live stream going at an accelerated rate today. So I just wanted to thank Stone Racket. I can't believe it. Like Scotty said, you're on the panel, but you're so generous.
You're most welcome.
Hello there, Jill. Here are some space credits to help support you and your awesome channel. Live long and prosper.
Here we go.
And then we also got a super sticker with the little kitty cat for $1.49. The super chat was for $20. Crazy.
Meow.
And also a $5 super sticker. What is it? It's a...
Damn.
Oh, it's a little Bushibo.
Bushiba.
Yeah. It says number 1. Nice.
And Jill, you are number 1.
Well, thank you. And yeah, so welcome. How are you doing today, Stone Racket?
Just dandy.
Great. And how are you, Scotty R37?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm a little, I'm too fast.
You're too fast. You're right. How about you, Jim?
Hey, I'm doing good. As you see, I got my court clothes on. I just got done doing some recording for Bone Returns. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Wow.
It might be a fake shirt, but it's a cheap shirt.
I didn't know he had gone anywhere. And
it's a long story.
Welcome to Pop Culture Curator. How are you today?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, Jill. I'm so happy to be here and not at a doctor's appointment. So this is a highlight definitely for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely for me too. And thanks again to Stone Racket for those super chats and super stickers.
You are great. I am great.
There you go. Even the puppies agree.
And I got to say hello to the chat. Hello to Franco Walker, DJ Play Nice, and Jim Stone Racket, who's on the panel. Gavin Blackburn says, I like this episode. It has some great horror elements to it. And Stone Racket counters, this episode is fun. It has some good horny elements to it.
Yeah. Whose boots?
There you go.
Whose bed has your boots been under? I think is one of the philosophers.
Scotty, calm down. Scotty,
all right.
calm down.
All right. Hey, someone said horny. I'm here.
It's in the episode. It's okay. Jim. We can talk about it when it's in the episode. Gorilla says Scotty blames all 56 Fs on me. And
Sounds
hello
good.
to James Caserta. Glory to Jill.
Blame
Glory to
everything on
Jill.
Scotty.
Hey, alleged.
Edge of Time. Hey, Edge of Time. Also, what's up, Plessy Nation? Hey. Risk is our business. Hello, Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Hello, Classic Comics. Great to see all of you guys.
That's why we're aboard her.
Right. So, yeah. So, in reference to production of these episodes, I will read a bit from Star Trek 365. I learned about this from Raquel Briggs, who reviews all of real Star Trek from 66 to 2005 on the Clobberin Times channel on Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Central. And it's a lot of fun. We're almost finished with season 4, so that's pretty fun. Voyager, Star Trek Voyager. And also, I will make references from These Are the Voyages by Mark Cushman, because there's lots of really great stuff in there. So even though my slides go in order, I don't mind if you want to talk about different parts of the episode. To help with that, I'll read the preview for Wink of an Eye right now. The Enterprise responds to an urgent summons from the planet Galos. But when Kirk and company arrive, they find only a beautiful deserted city and a burgeoning mystery as a member of the landing party disappears into thin air. Back on the ship, the crew finds evidence that someone has been tampering with assorted controls and equipment, but there's no sign of an intruder. Only after Kirk's coffee is spiked with Scalosian water does he find out that the ship has been infiltrated by the same beings who sent the initial distress call. However, now he and only he can see them. Kirk learns that long ago their metabolism had been accelerated by environmental changes on their planet, and now thanks to the contaminant added to his coffee, so has his. Deela, Queen of Scalosians, informs Kirk that her people are in the process of taking control of the Enterprise. They plan to use the ship's male crew members to help Scalos deal with a severe infertility problem. One that ultimately could eradicate Deela's entire species.
Bow wow.
Yes. So that is, yes, that's what they need them for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, those sneaky Scalosians. Slipping Captain Kirk a Mickey.
A Mickey is
Right.
Yeah, a speed up Mickey.
Whatever that chemical is, it really makes the coffee bubble up.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
just
again,
the drops. That's just the drops going in the coffee.
Oh, so Wink of an Eye first aired on November 29th, 1968. I guess that makes sense because if everything's going faster, it's going to heat up molecules. Sure. But don't try to apply too much science to this episode, though.
There's no science.
I think we'll get there.
It has a story by credit by Lee Cronin, who, of course, is really Gene L. Kuhn pseudonym. He left the show officially, and he signed a contract with Universal Studios. So he's working under the table, like he's secretly working for Paramount. He's not supposed to.
Yeah, he was hired to produce and write the series It Takes a Thief.
Yeah, but he doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Since he's working on that show, he doesn't actually write the teleplay for this episode. He only gives them an outline. He's just like, "Here's my idea. You guys write the episode." So that's why the episode turns out the way it does, because it's just his idea. And Arthur Hyndman.
He ripped off himself. He wrote an episode for the Wild Wild West called "The Night of the Burning Diamond," which deals with the same thing. With James West becomes sped up through miraculous means.
Yes, and he got that from an H.G. Wells short story called "The New Accelerator."
Yes, indeed.
And I love H.G. Wells, but I haven't read that one. I need to read his short stories.
Yeah, I haven't read that either.
but also Judd Taylor directs this episode. So far, he's directed this and The Paradise Syndrome. He'll direct 3 more before we're finished.
That is so interesting because this is very similar to the Paradise Syndrome.
I am Kirok. Oh, sorry.
No, I get This Side of Paradise. This Side of Paradise. I think this episode is very similar.
Yeah,
to
This Side of Paradise, right?
My mistake.
The spores.
Yeah. And as always, when it comes to the original series, there's always a place in my heart for Mr. Leslie, and I wish that it wasn't Compton. F you, Compton. I wanted Mr. Leslie to be in this role.
You wanted Leslie to die?
Yeah,
well, it would have been a great way to end it. I'm kind of reminded. Well, no, Mr. Leslie died a couple of times, but what I wanted is this would have been a great final appearance because then you finally see the fate as opposed to guessing. Because it has been a Where's Waldo of Where's Mr. Leslie, and I wish that Compton wasn't here and it was Eddie Paskey.
But then he would have died as an insubordinate.
Well, that's so weird. When Compton dies, he's like being, oh no, I met a girl and she loves me and we're going to do the repopulation thing. And so he's keeping Kirk out of environmental engineering. And then he goes and he fights the people, the fast people. And he's like, but he's my captain. It's a complete role. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe Eddie Paskey deserved better than this. Forget you, Compton.
Yeah.
Well, he was only insubordinate because of the alien influence. It wasn't his choice to be.
It was, yeah. He was teased by
Although Kirk is able to fend off whatever this influence is so easily, then I guess everybody else is just more susceptible to it for some reason.
Well,
he's Kirk.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
It's like, in the James Bond movies, they're dealing with James Bond. I mean, of course he can outwit them and outplay them and outfight them.
Well, and that's the thing, is that Compton's going about his day-to-day with no real concerns. He wants to do well in Starfleet, but Jim is in, and I mean Jim Kirk, not you, Commodore. But Jim is responsible for the entire ship and the entire crew complement, and so I enjoy his drive. And it does explain, it kind of hand waves away how he gets rid of this so easily, but I do appreciate that he is, resolute.
There you go. Franco gets it.
Yeah, Franco does get it. In the chat says Kirk has the love for the ship to give him strength.
Exactly. And that's absolutely true. And it's something that's usually what is integrated into the episode. They don't actually say it though in this one, which is, it's kind of nice to hear. But we know it, so I guess it's fine. So Stone Rocket, could you please go to the private chat and read the ship's log from Scotty?
Certainly. Ship's log, stardate 5710.5. Lieutenant Commander Scott reporting. While exploring an outer quadrant of the galaxy, the Enterprise received distress calls from an apparently uninhabited, incredibly beautiful city on the planet of Scalos. Captain Kirk and a landing party have beamed down to investigate.
Yeah, so I love seeing Scotty in command, but
that was the best Scotty impression I have ever heard.
Oh. I can't do that Scottish.
No, I kid.
So even I realized that what he was saying didn't really match what we were seeing, and so this footage is coming from the empath, and he has different hair in this scene. And later on in the episode, we see he's got much shorter hair.
Yeah. There's a lot of strange editing choices in this episode.
Well, it's very, you're showing the, obviously the remaster, the updated special effects. I could not get through the updated backgrounds of Scalos. So I had to switch back over. I think this is the first time I've encountered the remaster where I said, that's just bad. I can't watch this. Like the obvious, like the digital editing around Kirk and this crewman here, it's not Compton, but like it looks so bad in the update. It's got like a green screen shimmy that I had to switch back to the original special effects. Much prefer it. If you haven't watched this episode in a while and you have the availability of the original special effects, go with the original.
And
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing. Were they just trying to make it look more smoggy?
I don't know.
And speaking of original effects, Scotty, what is the original background from?
Oh, I don't know. Tell me.
It's the matte painting from A Taste of Armageddon.
Heavens.
That's right. Yes, that from Eminiar 7. It's recycled here for Skalos, and then there's even the statue from Anon 7's quarters. But I guess
that's excellent. I didn't remember that.
Oh, well, your memory is amazing. I researched it. But I guess in the remaster they take away that statue because I don't see the statue here.
Yeah. I agree with Scotty completely. It's several steps down from the original.
Well, Spock even makes mention that the assessment of the Skolosians is because of their art. They are humanoid based on the paintings, but I think it's visually represented as well in the opening shot of the original because you do see that statue, thusly presenting the Skolosians as being humanoid.
There you go.
And hello to Wes Cagle. Great to see
Wes
you today. He's here. And so we're continuing our season 3 tradition of the tricorders not exactly detecting much. At least this time they detect something.
Like, look at that. Just even look at that still image. It looks like it came out of a GIF. Anyway. And I kind of want to show my hand a little bit. I enjoy this episode more than I remember it. I was dreading watching it. But I was afraid because I remember this episode so poorly, and I mean both of opinion and my holes in my memory about it. I thought that Compton actually takes a sip of the water. I'm glad he didn't. I thought that, what, you're taking samples of water and you're just going to chug it? But no, he does wash his hands and then just wipe his lips. And I was like, oh, okay, this is fine. This is better than I remember. Because for some reason, I just had an image in my brain of it was like, oh, he's going to take a taste. Just find out what the flavor of Skolosian water is.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't.
He did not.
Yes, but being on a strange planet, you don't put your hands in strange water or even put it on your lips because that's why he disappeared in the first place.
Tell that to Trip. He stuck his hands into something and then he got pregnant.
Well, yeah, those rocks, those magic sex rocks. Yes.
The magic sex rock.
Different era, different episode.
This is true. I'm sorry. I'm comparing Star Trek to Star Trek. Yeah. My mistake.
Well, and the main thing that was created, this episode came well under budget, but one of the things they did create was this fountain designed by Matt Jeffries.
Mm.
And
you hear the buzz.
And what else can you tell us about that fountain, Jill?
What can you tell me about the fountain?
Oh, the fact that they had this water running for the fountain, both Shatner and Nimoy had to loop their dialogue because of the noise it made. So that's why Cushman says that's why Nimoy sounds so flat as Spock in this scene. Because of that looping job they had to do.
Oh, all right.
Well, and it's interesting because, like, Leonard Nimoy's performance in this episode, for some reason, because we are in season 3, and I'm not saying he looked old, but he was sort of maturing into the kind of Spock that I notice in the movies. And so I was like, oh my, season 3, he's getting up there. I know he's not getting up there, but I'm just saying he reminds me of Star Trek II Spock in this episode very much.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, how so?
Well, just in his performance, the way, like, obviously, he did eventually, being a heavy smoker, he had dentures eventually, and the way that he sort of conducts his mouth movements, if you will, and, like, there's just something about him that is looking more mature, or seasoned. Hell of a thing to tell a man. But
Well, yeah, especially when it's just been a couple of years.
I know, but it does look. He looks a little, and also it's interesting just with Spock as a whole. I think we talked about this a couple of episodes back, is that Spock is more reserved. And you do I do see his more leaning into logic as opposed to embracing or exploring his human half, which he will eventually do in
Yes,
the
definitely.
movie after
And
Colin R.
definitely. Well, okay, I see what you're saying. He does seem a little more straight in this episode. I don't know, like a little. I don't know.
But he does spark up. Like when Kirk goes away, he's totally problem solving. Like he's very much in character. I'm not knocking the characterization.
No, I don't. I'm not saying you are, but he is all business.
Yes.
Edge of Time says looks like it inspired Bespin, the Star Wars Cloud City. All right. It looks like New York City in about 50 years, says James Caserta. And hello to Captain Fandom Nerd and also to Keith E, who is listening and working.
Hey, Keith.
So great to see you. Why would he drink the alien water?
I don't know. Why would he rub it on his lips?
Why? Someone said this in the chat.
You're a beauty.
So I'm just
oh man.
I was looking right at him and he just wasn't there.
Oh, that dramatic music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, while it does make sense to wonder what happened in terms of where the crewman went, he doesn't consider that it might have been a transporter. I know it wasn't a transporter, but that would be where my head would go if I were a Starfleet officer. I don't know.
Is this just visually represented to the audience in terms of him being accelerated, or is there the sort of, television noise?
Yes, well, you do get the buzzing. We do get the insect buzzing.
I think that special effect of Compton disappearing is for the benefit of the audience, but I will take McCoy's word for it when he says, I was looking at him and he just, boom, gone.
Well, yeah, in the promo, in the trailer, there is no static. It's just, he just straight up vanishes.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I think you're right. I think it is for the audience.
And again, having watched the original effects, that is still part of the original effects. So.
And in the original script, they were going to show a flower sprout and bloom and die really quickly, in a total lifespan of flower in a minute. But I guess it was just too much. Why didn't they do it? I don't know. I guess it cost too much. It cost too much and took too much time.
Well, and Pop, you probably would know in terms of how long it took to turn around in the production of each episode, and so how long you don't have time to sit there and write the script.
Yeah, they only have 5 or 6 days.
Yeah,
and it seemed like that probably would have been stop motion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just funny that now that's a sort of a stock footage thing that would have been available easily from a library. I'm surprised that they didn't have that.
Well, and I remember there's an animated series episode where they do exactly that for I forget, the one with Robert April.
Yeah, like Scotty was saying, you'd think they would use stock footage, time-lapse photography, and just kind of mat it in, but I guess, there's an extra expense that they don't want to deal with.
Another thing they were going to do is kill the red shirt by having the aliens throw him against a rock, and but they didn't want to make the aliens just look like random brutal murderers, so they took that out.
Yeah, but that's the whole Compton thing. It just makes me
Compton was played by Jeffrey Binney, and he was 23. And I guess
what is this, a Tinder profile? Yay!
He was in the 1982 horror adventure movie Kung Fu Cannibals.
Oh, so was I.
I believe it. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
another
so-
all. We do have an all hands on. Oh no, we don't. We don't have Chekhov.
Yeah, but the thing is, the editor used a shot over Chekhov's. We can see him when the Skolosians are on the viewing screen the first time.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the-
and then the helmsman is not Sulu in that particular shot that they used. Yeah, you need to whether it's the group shot where they're on the.
Oh, we'll get there.
Well, this is earlier. Jill's already gone past it, but that's okay.
Okay.
yeah, that's fine. Well, is that enough Chekhov for you?
No,
No,
there's
that's
never enough.
that's definitely Sulu there on the left, but I
sure.
was referring to an earlier shot.
I understand that.
Mhm.
What you see on the screen is not always going to match what you're
Yeah.
saying, and so that's okay. Everybody understands that. You don't have to over-explain that.
That's a fault of mine. I talk too much.
Tell me about it, brother.
Well, the Enterprise is having all sorts of malfunctions. That's sort of a mystery for a while, but we know eventually it's because of the aliens they're rewiring the ship to make things easier for them for some reason, unexplained really. Except, of course, we know it's just to help them live in their accelerated time. It's all very vague.
I do like that when the people get accelerated, we have scenes of like when Kirk gets accelerated and he's talking to Una or Dula or Dila. What is her name?
Tila.
That's her name. She's a very unique woman. Anyway, we go back to the moment when Kirk first gets accelerated, and then it's like nothing had happened, but we've already had a couple of scenes. And so the direction of this episode does show the rapid progression of time very well. In my mind, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just blinded by the adoration.
Well,
Nothing?
yeah.
You're
Well,
not going to
okay.
fight me on this? Come on.
The only thing, well, at least you know when you're in accelerated time versus not, because our camera's tilted. So I guess
Yeah,
that
Dutch
helps.
angles. Dutch angles all over the place. Hey, Spidey.
Hey, hello, Canadian Spider-Man.
Canadian
Oh
Spider-Man.
my
Hello.
goodness. Oh, see, our stream elements, we have fixed it. And so Mad G is testing it out for me. Mad G just tipped $1. Oh, goodness, golly gumdrops. Jill has fixed her stream elements. I did.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, and Mad G just did it.
Hey.
And yeah, so glad you're here.
Bro,
And hello to
good
Brogu. Brogu, not Grog.
Yeah.
That's your brother.
Yeah.
I'm 7, but I look a lot older. Sorry, bro. Never mind.
I've never heard of standby alert. What does that mean? Like, is that less than yellow alert?
Yeah. That's not. I would say
Oh.
he should have gone to yellow alert.
Is it general quarters? You know how they say they do call general quarters? Is that
Yeah,
and it's less than yellow alert?
Yeah,
That's it?
that might have been.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that might have been better. Just to say general quarters.
Mm.
Mhm.
Still, I'm fine with it.
Secret standby alert.
Secret, double secret.
Double secret.
Yeah, we're not sure what we're going to alert you about, but stand by on that.
Yeah.
Stand
Guys,
by and be alerted.
stay frosty. Stay frosty alert.
Stay frosty. Yeah.
We get
So-
Majel. It's good to see Christine. You know what?
Yeah,
I'm getting
she's-
more nostalgic for this
Mm.
show while I'm watching it because I know that we're almost done with the show. That it's like, yay. Anytime I can see somebody that I like, I'm just like, hooray.
She gets to explain that everybody's been rummaging around,
Yes.
but inexplicably.
We have invisible shoplifters.
Oh,
But
no.
they haven't taken anything. They just moved things around.
Poltergeist.
All right. So
Alrighty then.
all the nurses to Kirk's quarters, says Canadian Spider-Man.
Actually,
So
it's
good
the
morning
yeoman.
to you too.
It's not the nurses, it's the yeoman. And Franco says, what does general quarters mean? I don't know. Anybody else have an idea what general quarters? Because you've heard it on Star Trek. They say secure from general quarters. They say something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very military, and I don't know exactly what that means.
But I'm not talking crazy.
No,
Okay,
you're
cool.
not. That's exactly what they say, and it's like what is the exact meaning of that? And I have never been in the military, so I can't answer that.
Fair enough. But thank you.
Um,
I must briefly step
yeah,
away.
I guess I would just guess that it means get ready. I have no idea. I don't know though.
Get ready for
Oh,
action.
Canadian Spider-Man says it means everyone go to their rooms.
Time out.
I don't know about that. But the intercom, everything's malfunctioning, including the intercom system. So there's a good idea for everybody to use their communicators. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's logical.
Most logical.
And what are we doing? I don't know why. This episode takes a little while. Kirk thinks he's hallucinating because of the bugs. And then he realizes, no, I'm not hallucinating. There's a intruder. And so
We also realized something touched him.
yes. Has she kissed him yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she refers to later that it was the first time she kissed him.
Yeah.
Basically,
Several
within knowing
times.
it.
Dealing with Deela.
Well, I got a good shot of the crewmen, the security guys running into the force field. The aliens won't let them go down the corridor. Only Kirk and Spock can go. Oh, Brogu gives us an answer. General quarters is a condition of readiness for combat on a warship, during which crew members remain at their battle stations and have guns and ammunition
I was just
ready
about to
for
say that.
loading.
There you go.
Ah, sorry.
Beat me to
Thank
it.
you,
It's all right.
Brogu.
It's also says it's roughly the same as all hands on deck. And oh man, hello to Tyron Lethbridge. Great to see you. How are you? And so we get an environmental engineering room for this episode just to see the aliens fuss with the life support.
And of course, it's just a redress of their briefing room set, which they redress quite often.
Oh, it works.
Budget cuts.
Because
oh, yeah, budget cuts.
Yep.
we got their freeze unit system that is not ready. It's not ready yet. They can't turn it on yet for some reason. And Kirk and Spock cannot disconnect it. They can't destroy it. It's protected by a force field that electrocutes them or something. James Caserta says, I'm imaginary. Oh, no.
Yeah, when you touch that, it gives you a freezing, numbing feeling on your hands, and that's going to freeze the whole ship too.
Exactly.
Yeah, yes, eventually. So, yeah, they want to put all the men on ice. And I guess the women by default, too.
Put them on ice.
Yeah, to be able to use them as they need them.
Yeah.
For reproductive purposes.
Oh, dear.
Oh, boy.
They consult the computer, and I was kind of like, why isn't Major Barrett speaking as a computer here? I don't know, but it's fine because it recommends negotiation. That doesn't make any sense. Kirk refuses.
Well, this isn't the first time that Major Barrett's voice has been used for the computer.
No, but she's not the computer in this episode. Someone else is, but I don't know who.
Oh,
It didn't sound like her.
Oh, I thought it did, but maybe I'm dreaming.
Or maybe I'm dreaming. Oh man, does somebody know?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I'm gonna say you're right, Bill.
If it was her, they made her voice. They messed up her voice with the editing or something. Like it sounded weird.
Yeah.
But this is where Kirk's coffee gets spiked.
Deela slipped him a Mickey.
And everybody starts to move in slow motion. I guess this is an effect that Scotty likes. I don't know where he's gone to, but they're the bubbles. So
don't drink the coffee.
Yeah, so
too late.
The explosion, water, whatever chemical, radiation, whatever caused this to happen to the aliens is putting Kirk into hyper accelerated whatever.
It's weird that the radiation that affected them, the Scalosians, that they were able to weaponize it and be able to administer it into, beverages.
Yeah, it's really convenient. And so it's funny that it's not used later. It's just a really crazy thing. Like, I guess that happens sometimes in Star Trek. You get a new technology or a new ability that you forget about forever after the episode. And so there in Star Trek, they actually had science consultants. And here's what Pete Solomon, the science authority from DeForest Research, says. In a wink of an eye, you've got an untenable scientific proposition for any object to move so fast that you can't see it, which means we're talking about moving at relative speeds. How do you keep from burning up? How do you keep the turbulence caused by your passage from not knocking people over? It's just a silly idea. That's the sort of thing that was happening. That the shows got away from science and they were getting more and more into fantasy.
Yeah, you gotta check your brain at the door to enjoy this episode.
Well, that's not what we're here for.
Oh no.
Ari says, "Is this the only episode where Kirk has coffee on the bridge?" No. There's another. No way. I remember there's more coffee.
And Corbomite maneuver, Yeoman Rand brings up coffee. And she said, "Thought power was out." She used a phaser. To heat the coffee.
That is pretty clever. Like, as far as ingenuity for a yeoman goes.
Hubba hubba, there's Deela with her peekaboo outfit.
Right. Peekaboo. Little pieces cut out.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing wrong with that. But again, I am a toxic male and I do not apologize.
The actress was married to Darren McGavin.
Not at the time, but soon to be Mrs. McGavin.
Yes, she was she's very busy on the television screen. She was in Gunsmoke, The Virginian, My Favorite Martian, Temple Houston with Jeffrey Hunter, who of course is Captain Pike, and Ben Casey. Wagon Train, Rawhide, Sea Hunt, 77 Sunset Strip, Perry Mason, The Alfred Hitchcock Hour, and Have Gun Will Travel. She was 28. And Bonanza. Yeah, she did a lot of stuff. I don't know any of these things.
Yeah, she was on so much 60s television.
She was bouncing around all over the place.
Yeah, and then it does mention McGavin's series that she guest starred on, and that's what started their relationship. They eventually got married.
Yeah, she was on more stuff, but I don't have to read all this stuff.
Okay.
Brown had just finished a year as a regular on Hondo, a former Friday night competitor of Star Trek during 67 to 68, and she was 1 year away from appearing twice on Darren McGavin's series The Outsider.
There you go.
And marrying its star. Yeah, that's her. And so she introduces herself as the enemy. She's like, "Hey, here I am."
I love that. I love that introduction. And also, I have a question. And it's an objectification. It's a male gaze question. She is a unique looking woman. Would you find her pretty?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I find her attractive.
For sure. Well, you know who she reminds me of is like she's like the great aunt of that whoever plays Phoebe on Friends.
Oh, really? Wow, sweet. And Ari Bavel in the chat says, What? Is this the only episode where Kirk has coffee on the bridge? No, it is not.
Of course
Yeah.
not. Coffee has had a little more than that. Yeah, Corbomite
Grand.
maneuver, just like
Yeah,
Thundercat.
I mentioned that from Corbomite maneuver.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and James Caserta says Kirk drank coffee and by any other name.
Oh,
This
good one.
sounds like a cool list. Like, what are all the
Yeah.
times Kirk drank coffee on the bridge? That sounds like a trivia question.
James Caserta is on it.
And so we've got a few videos.
And they wish to impress upon us what they can do to us.
Oh, okay, so that's when they first encounter the freeze machine.
You beamed me aboard yourself when you came up. Leela, the enemy.
So,
well, and okay, so
what do you think about beaming aboard when you're going that fast? When you're going so much faster?
Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, it would take they'll be here next week. You guys just gotta wait.
Yeah, go ahead, Scotty.
I was just going to say it's sort of the same situation, and I was curious about it. But then again, I did see Dr. Gillian Taylor like jump on Admiral Kirk in Star Trek 4. And so if there is something going on with the transporter, if you just like hold on to the person who is being transported, you will as well be transported. That's my interpretation.
You got it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, that explains how you can piggyback on somebody's transporter, but it doesn't really take care of the time disparity. That's always going to be wonky in this episode.
Yeah, another time disparity. They should have shown just one shot of them using the ladders between decks, because there's no way they could use the elevator.
Right, exactly. The turbolifter would take way too long.
Yeah.
And that's why all the doors are open, everything's open, because they can't.
Yeah,
they don't have time.
In Cushman's book, he goes through that scene that was cut that shouldn't have been, where Spock explains about all the different things that have been changed on the ship, including the doors being jammed open.
That makes sense. And I would have liked that little explanations are my favorite things.
Yeah, just go back. Just keep it on that still for the rest of the discussion. No, I'm
all right.
No, but that's it. You know what, Stone Racket? I know you say it just because you want to oogle, but I really
ogle.
Whatever. I'm Canadian. It's regional.
Oh, okay.
So, but like I do want to give credit to the costumer. Is this William Ware Tice?
Yes.
Like that is an absolutely gorgeous frock, because one side is business and the other is hey. Like I think that is a really, like, the costume design on this is great. The technology, like the button that she presses as the communicator on her collar is almost a precursor to the comm badges in The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Like
that is cool. That is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just where you touch the intercom and then you talk.
Yeah.
The communicator.
And what does everyone think of the Skolosian phasers, or the weapons?
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, and they make the same sound as the Klingon disruptors.
True.
Yeah, this is true. So, well, and the sad thing is we've lost so many of the great people who made Star Treks, because Gene Roddenberry's not working on the show. Gene Kuhn gave him the outline, but he wasn't really there to really make the script or make it work, because when he's actually there, we would have gotten something completely different.
Yeah.
And so it's, at least we have the costume designer still.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I think this is the last episode that Robert Justman worked on.
Oh, okay. So I've been seeing that he's on his way out. Is he really going now? I didn't see him
Yeah,
work too much on this one.
Yeah, maybe
So that makes
this is
sense.
the episode he did take his leave, but I remember Cushman makes a note of that in his coverage of this particular episode that Justman was on his way out.
Honestly, he should have been producer. I don't understand.
Oh
that
yeah,
didn't
I
happen.
totally agree. Not that fried burger brain, as I call him.
He's really not as bad as I thought, but he's not that good either.
Yeah.
I cannot hear you, Captain. To their ears, you sound like an insect.
And then, of course, we get the title of the episode.
We move in the wink of an eye.
Everyone take a drink. No.
I did. I'm still here. But also on her little comm thing on her neck, they have to keep pushing a button in to transmit, so it's not like the next gen.
Yeah, so that you have to hold it down. So, but it's a precursor.
And I think there's like a little green light there. It kind of looks like a green light is on when they push the button.
Cool.
Or are you so accustomed to being kissed by invisible women?
I wish I had one like that.
Queen.
We had to make some changes in it to adjust it to.
Yeah, so she explains why all the malfunctioning is happening because they've got to change
because the machine that they're putting in is tapping into every system that they have on the ship in order to control the ship and freeze them for later storage.
Exactly. Do you have the clip of this sequence, Jill?
I don't, but you know what? I think we can get it from this video. So the Trekkie channel makes this visual comparison between the remaster and the original, and so I'm sure we can find it here. If there was a change, maybe there wasn't. If not, then we won't get it.
I know it's the only time that the phaser blast from the pistol is green.
Yeah,
and they kept that.
I love green.
I'm sure they changed the beam a little bit with the remastered.
Let's see. We'll find out after I get past the credits.
Now the beam is still green because I went to Paramount Plus and that is the remastered and it's still green.
Yeah.
All right. So if that's the case, then I probably don't have the video here. Oh, there is a difference between the force field. Okay, whoa.
Yeah.
See, in the original, totally the whole screen was green.
Yeah.
I love that green.
Okay. And when the force field comes up for the original, that's neat. And let's see.
It's the same.
No, okay. It's not going to give it to us.
Rats.
Sorry.
And if I remember right, the only time that the ship's phasers are green is one of Jill's favorite episodes, The Alternative Factor.
Yeah, that's funny. That's my least favorite episode of Star Trek.
I know it has that unique angle of the ship firing, but maybe they weren't green.
I'm not gonna. You are you trying to trick me to go watch The Alternative Factor just to corroborate what you're saying?
No. I was just thinking out loud. My memory on that is faulty.
We should do an audio commentary on The Alternative Factor.
It's just gonna be me shouting.
Memory Alpha.
Well, there is. I don't know when it's going to be released, but there is an audio commentary of the Empath.
Oh, right. Yeah, we did record a audio commentary for the Empath. No, the Alternative Factor, Jim, is my least favorite Star Trek episode.
You and Scotty did a commentary for the Empath?
We did.
Oh, cool.
secret information that he just released.
I just revealed something to look forward to. I apologize for building.
Now I actually have to work on it.
Yeah, I know. I want to hear it myself.
That's sweet. Is that the only commentary? Well,
yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. So far, it's the only one we've ever done.
Maybe. Yeah, that.
It's kind of funny because I don't like that episode that much.
Yep. And that's why it's funny, because the alternative factor would be another episode that you dislike.
Oh my.
It's a good. Well, okay. I don't hate the empath because it's a really great way for me to get to sleep.
Run, Kirk, run!
It's better than
Bro.
Yay!
It's better. No, I don't know. I like Ben more. I like my colony creatures.
I know you love your colony creatures. Yes. So is everybody like, are Scalosians the Flash?
Yeah, that's what I thought when I was a kid. It's like they're all like the Flash.
Yeah.
Well, here where she steps aside from the phaser beam, he shoots and he misses, and it's the only time the phaser beam is tinted green, apparently. The Scalosian weapon was also designed by Matt Jeffries, and like Stone Racket said, it sounds like a Klingon disruptor. Dila is amused. Yeah, she's having fun.
Way too much fun.
She is. She's like, hey, you know what? I know you're upset about this now, but pretty soon you're going to like it. Everybody learns to like it.
But she and Shatner have such a great chemistry. That's what makes the episode, in my opinion. But
yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she tells him there's no way out. So I guess that is, some people were saying earlier that this has horror elements, and I guess that is a bit of it because this is the form of enslavement.
Yeah.
Of imprisonment.
I'm sorry about the dogs barking. These cats come downstairs, they knock on the door, and they run upstairs, and they go, you got the dogs barking again.
Oh, they're teasing the dogs.
All day long, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's what cats do. They live to annoy the dogs.
Yeah, my first cat annoyed my neighbor's dogs endlessly.
Well, and this is what I was referring to, is that we do have the entire introduction of Dila, and it is, I wouldn't say lengthy, but there is a scene, and then all of a sudden we're right back to when
normal time.
Kirk took a sip of his coffee. And so I appreciate, like, this isn't a time travel thing. This is an accelerated biology thing. And so
so we get to see
it's a matter of perception.
Yeah. So this is normal time where Spock is wondering about what's in this coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to see accelerated time happen alongside it. And yeah, I agree. It is effective. So you're not confused, at the very least. You do know what's happening.
Yeah. Well, if you can pick up what they're throwing down, it's totally on point. But I do appreciate when Spock is investigating the coffee.
Yeah.
And it is very much like the last thing that Jim said before, not you, Commodore, but Jim Kirk said before he disappeared. He was like, well, I guess we just wait until they make the next move. And then Spock responds to it in the perfect Vulcan way. And he's like, I believe the captain did say, wait for them to make their next move. I believe they have made it. Yeah. And it's like, okay, let's move forward from here. This is an excellent episode of people doing their jobs.
And he becomes a detective.
Yeah.
At that point, he goes into Sherlock Holmes mode.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And again, it's a great characterization or representation of the character of Spock. I don't know why I was afraid of this episode. It's actually, I enjoy it. Except for except for Compton. F Compton.
Well, Compton says he was influenced by a girl, so I was wondering if, when she says everybody eventually learns to like it, I was wondering if the mating component had to do with the compliance component.
Pretty sure.
And of course, my excuse as to why Kirk doesn't succumb to it is the same as Franco Walker's. It's because he's in love with the Enterprise, so no amount of sex will turn him. Or
Well,
shake his
but he'll
constitution.
still engage.
He'll
in it.
still enjoy it. Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think it's an apt comparison when you
Yes.
said earlier, Stone Racket, it's James Bond. Come on, James Bond's gonna James Bond. So is Jim
Yeah.
Kirk. He's gonna Jim Kirk.
Speaking of that infamous sequence that you mentioned, where Kirk and Deela do the horizontal hula.
Oh my stars!
I did not see this episode when it was first aired, but I saw it when it was first in syndication. I remember where I was. I was over at my friend's house, and when that scene played out, we looked at each other like, whoa, Kirk and Deela did it. We were kind of surprised by that. Yeah,
and
I'm
glad it
daring.
got past the censors.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, for 68, that's pretty daring, and I'm surprised that got that slipped by. But again, they were in a late time slot, so maybe, I don't know. That had some factor.
Well, it was very risque at the time, from what I
Yeah.
understand.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And we'll talk more about it because that's the centerpiece of this episode. And Compton, however, is getting some cell damage, so he's about to die.
Could you go back to the other woman there?
The other woman.
Yeah, the other Skolosian woman that you just had up on the screen.
Not Deela.
Right.
Not Deela. Yeah, not Deela.
Right. She had Compton, and
right.
And
but I was going to.
Compton's been damaged, so
I was going to say, doesn't she remind you of Kim Novak?
Yeah. Well,
resemble. Remind you of. Yeah, remind.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking in this particular image, she's got a little bit of Julie Newmar going on, a blonde Julie Newmar.
Yeah, a little bit of Julie Newmar. Yeah. Okay, a little Kim Novak, a little Julie Newmar.
A little bit of Monica in my life.
In a green outfit.
Yeah. And
whoever she looks
Commodore
like,
loves green, don't you?
Mm.
Yeah.
She lost Compton, so they're gonna have to get another man for her.
Yes.
So they're gonna.
For what purpose, Jill?
For the purpose of making babies, because their species can't make any more babies.
No.
By themselves. So I guess they can only survive in hybrid mode.
Well, but also let's not forget the reason that the Skolosians have died out is because anytime that there is cellular damage, they age rapidly and die, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mean to be biological about this, but because it is a centerpiece of what is going on, isn't there a thing that happened? Like, is there not a possibility when procreation occurs that there could be cellular damage in your bikini area just based on putting one thing into another thing?
Yes. The whole thing is completely ridiculous. Because cell damage happens all the time just as a state of natural living.
Exactly.
You get a paper cut, you're suddenly dead. That is completely. It's surprising that there are any aliens at all in this episode. There should be all dead.
They should be.
It does say that people new to being accelerated are the ones who face this weakness. So maybe after a time, when you get used to being accelerated, you're no longer susceptible to this weakness. Just dying from a paper cut.
But then the Skolosians would still be around. They'd just be hyper fast and no one would care.
Well, but they weren't because they couldn't procreate.
Well, they could. Oh, well, yeah, but
until a ship. We don't know how often a ship would come by for them to freeze.
But I thought that the reason that there were only 5 Skolosians left is because they all bumped into tables and then hyper accelerated to death.
Yeah, well, some of them probably, but
a lot of it is the lack of.
But
there's dialogue that says.
Yeah, the price they paid for that mutation was the men were sterile.
Okay.
Yeah, there's dialogue in here that says those newly accelerated to our level are sensitive to cell damage. So how newly? 2 hours? 20 days? A year? How long does it take to build up immunity to this cell damage nonsense?
30 days.
They never say, yeah.
Or your
Yeah,
money
it was good.
back.
Or your money.
But in his last moments, he does try to stand up for Captain Kirk. So at least there's that.
Yeah. You're very forgiving.
I am. Well, he's gonna die anyway, so might as well.
But why did he? You were told to stop him. I tried, but he got past me. And he had a fist fight with Kirk, so cell damage occurred there, but that didn't do anything. It wasn't until he had like a shaving cut. Anyway, meanwhile, back in real time.
Back in real
Shaving
time.
cut?
Well, no,
Yeah,
that's how Compton dies. They show he has a small cut in his neck.
I know.
And so-
He got that from the other guy that had that
Yeah.
metal thing.
It
in
wasn't a
his hand.
small cut. It was a rather large
Yeah.
cut on his neck.
Yeah, it was large.
Hey, hello
That's
to Luke Chester and the Basco scenario. How do they know the women can get pregnant? It's true. It's like you
Yep.
just got to try.
He just
Well, and also,
And it's not going to work with every alien species either.
doesn't childbirth produce a lot of cell damage in, your bikini
Yes.
area?
Not only that, just developing a fetus itself, like
Well, yeah.
internally.
Yes. So
And
anyway, moving
the thing
on.
is Deela is going to have triplets because
Mm.
she's been impregnated by the great
No,
Kirk.
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it
What?
was going to be at least
She's going to have a
twins.
litter?
Well, Kirk. It's Kirk. He's potent. She's going to have
Oh.
triplets.
I don't know how Scalosian ova work.
Yeah,
No, me neither. But she seems to treat him more like a pet than someone she's in love with.
yeah. It's kind of creepy.
I want to keep this one a long time. He's pretty.
He's pretty.
Oh, there's something charming about this episode that makes me like it more than when I first saw it.
Yeah, I want to
Give
play
it a
that
chance,
one again.
Scotty. Give it a chance.
I want to keep this one a long time. He's pretty.
So it's difficult to ascertain her affection for him. She wants him for pleasure, and that's all I'm really certain about. And
She wants to ride him like a roller coaster, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, Scotty, are you trying to tell me that no woman has ever said that you're pretty?
Cute. I've had cute,
Oh, okay.
but no one's ever told me I was pretty.
Yeah, I feel like they just have the cell damage thing just to kill Compton and make it more tense for Kirk.
Yeah, it makes sense. Let's sacrifice a red shirt to heighten.
He was so young.
Oh, whatever. Fuck him. Sorry about the swear.
Oh, jeez.
I hate Compton.
You hate?
I do. I don't like him. I don't even know how he got through Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, that's Scotty's subtitle for this episode.
Yeah.
F. Compton.
F. Compton.
I hate him. Damn.
I have to work
Okay,
for the
I'll change-
Scalosians, but now
I'll
I'm working for
change the-
you.
I'll change the title later.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I gotta read this. Okay. He's
Stone
inferior.
Racket
Well, of
will
course,
return.
and this is where we get our introduction for Rael. Rio. He's played by Jason Evers. He was a lead in the movie The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Hmm.
And
Did
And
this
then he
also-
was-
Sorry,
What?
go ahead. No, please.
he was also in a Western called Wrangler, which was Gene Roddenberry's first as a co-producer. Then on Channing, which was a 1-hour drama from 1963 to 2004. And he was also on Gunsmoke, Bonanza, The Green Hornet, The Wild Wild West, and The Invaders Run for Your Life, and Combat.
I do want to address Eric Carroll in the chat saying,
Please
let's
do.
not forget
Hey, Eric Carroll.
what
Come on.
the phi in sci-fi stands for. And I agree with you in terms of the storytelling, science fiction. It is fiction, and I am suspending my disbelief, but I wouldn't be a credible Star Trek fan if I didn't be like, what about that? Like, I think that's part of the fun of being a Star Trek fan, is being able to say, What about
Oh,
that?
for sure. Absolutely.
But, you know, I get where your heart is, Eric Carroll. And yeah, I agree. I am having fun with this. Like, you'll find out when I give my review.
Straight out of straight out of Starfleet, says Captain
Oh,
Infinity.
no.
Content
Science
is great.
fantasy at best. This episode, I agree with you.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Well, yeah, I'm fine with Lost in Space too.
Well, that's not my problem.
Hey, McPhoenix is here. Hello. I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, McPhoenix.
You got here just in time. We're talking about the episode. Why is that the second time we had to ask about damaging a vagina? Do you know what they are? Do you know how they work?
Well, no, but I don't want to get into it, Tyron. But it's a thing. Like,
well,
I've
well, because the issue is cell damage, but you don't have to worry about cell damage because this lady's been in accelerated time for enough time that you don't have to worry about her, but you might have to worry about the fetus because the fetus is new to hyper time because it never existed before. So will it even survive? These are the kind of questions we think of when we think too much about that episode.
Yeah. And also there's the coitus involved. And so I do enjoy speculation because I remember it well.
Sorry, at most realistic is better phrasing. Yes, of course. Okay. Yes, I do understand. But I love thinking about physics, but there's none of that here. So you don't have to worry about it.
Well, no, but there is a little bit that they like. Again, this is science adjacent because remember,
it's science adjacent. Yes, of course.
I was surprised because the device that is attempting to put the ship in a deep freeze is super cold. When Spock first interacts with it and Kirk first interacts with it, I thought it was hot. And it was kind of like that scene in Back to the Future where it's like, is it hot? And it's like, no, it's cold. It's air cold. And it is because cold is the process of slowing down the movement of molecules, and heat is the process of accelerating the movement of molecules. And so I do
there's a bit
like there's something there, and I'm like, I think I know about it as much as the writers of this episode. But it's just like, okay, you're not going hyper fast, you're going super slow, but like there is something with the movement of molecules, the metabolism, it is there. I just think that they're coloring outside of the lines.
They are, just like the science consultant said, everybody would be on fire.
Yeah. Well, but that's why everything's cold, is because they're moving super slow. Like the crew is moving.
That's why they need their freeze machine.
Exactly. I guess. Maybe. Anyway, I like this episode. Whatever.
And that's okay too, for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's entertaining. I'll give you that. And that's what we're here for, mostly.
Yep, mostly.
Study it, but don't touch it. So why does Kirk just like touch it? Why? It's just like, yeah, I don't want to listen to you. Just like a petulant child or something.
I'm gonna wreck it. He's Wreck-It Ralph.
Well, basically, yeah, he's trying to destroy it, so don't harm the ship.
That's right.
This guy is
but how is he going to destroy it? Just touching it.
He was probably going to try and pull it anyway. Meanwhile, Compton's dead. Hooray!
Yep, he's dead. He's gone.
Hooray!
I know that's rude. I'm sorry, Scotty.
Scotty don't like Compton.
I don't. That guy's a jerk.
I don't like Jason Evers.
Again, low rent Rojan.
Yeah. He's no match for Kirk. Or Shatner.
Well, no, I think he has a screen presence. I don't want to take away from the performance. I'm referring only to the character.
Yeah.
But obviously, Deela's in charge.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's the queen, and she wants to make Kirk the king.
I don't think that's going to go over too well.
No, Rael is really jealous, and he's really in love with Deela.
And we can thank Gene Roddenberry for that. That was one of his notes. He wanted that played up, and he wanted more conflict between them.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
and that is where the conflict's supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't addressed right away. That Roddenberry had to remind them. It's like we got We got to have this conflict.
Well, we were lucky we got some notes from both
Oh, yeah.
machines to make this episode.
Like, Deela's just sitting there and saying, yes, we can press faces, but you're not going to do anything for me biologically. I want a child. My biological clock is ticking very, very quickly.
Yeah, so get back to work.
Exactly.
That's what she does several times during this episode. She's like, shouldn't she be doing something else?
He's like Real is
Trying,
like
trying.
Sub Commander Tall in the Enterprise incident. It's like just not everyone should subscribe to Sub Commander Tall on Twitter, but like he's just a subservient male antagonist to make it so that dudes are fighting dudes, as opposed to, even though like Deela does introduce herself, I'm the enemy. She says straight up in the episode, I'm the bad guy. But we do have to have a man that we can fist fight with.
Yes, and well, Kirk's making a recording of his report, so he's putting all of what's going on the microtape, so Spock and McCoy and Chapel can know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. So and I like how Deela interrupts, and then Kirk is just like, he keeps about his business. He doesn't even like reference or talk to her directly while he is reporting. It's amazing. I love it. It's a great character moment with Kirk being intrigued, somewhat seduced, but still his mind is on his job. I love Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they don't have a lot of time to he doesn't have a lot of time to relay this information, and they don't have a lot of time to retrieve it.
True.
Gigantic deep freeze. Yep.
And so radiation, he learns about how radiation poisoning transform the population, making them accelerate time and not have babies. And
famous last words, too late. It's never too late for the Kirk.
Exactly.
He doesn't believe in the no-win scenario.
Well, also he's distracting her here, so he's able to slip the tape in front of Spock.
Slip the tape? Is that a euphemism? Yeah. Never mind.
Slip it of the tongue.
Oh man, I got in so much trouble last Friday. I can't. This episode is teasing me so much, and it wants me.
And this episode actually has the subject matter that you're trying.
It's usually my jam, but I messed up so badly on Friday. I can't run with what I would usually say.
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back on the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm. No one is a match for Kirk, says Eric Carroll. Doing really well. Oh, okay. Canadian Spider-Man is doing well. That's great. Met some friends. Wonderful.
Oh, right. I forgot. It was Mexico time of year. Congratulations, Spidey. This is the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, that sounds like a great vacation.
Wait, is he going? He's considering going to Mexico.
He always does.
Well,
I'm hoping.
This would be the second time.
Well, as long as I've known him. Anyway, you can hear all about it next week on our new show, Canadian Spider-Man's Travels.
Yes. The Scalosians are trying to turn the Enterprise into a freezer.
A walk-in freezer.
A walk-in freezer, as Franco Walker says.
Yeah.
Walk in, walk in and pick what you want and beam out and see you later.
Mm-hmm. Calvin L. Weir says it was pretty good for the 60s effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that tight budget, it did pretty well here.
Yep.
Yeah, this one got under budget. And so
I think
Fred Freiberger was happy about that.
I think that one of the hardest things that any actor can do is moments like these where you have to stand perfectly still while someone else is doing something. And I really appreciate everybody that is standing perfectly still. I think that it's an incredible skill. Like, I would be moving slightly. I would be breathing oddly. It would be obvious if I were in the background. Of course, I'm not an actor, but like part of performance is mastering your movements. And I think that everybody in this episode does a really good job.
I think it might even be more difficult than pretending you're dead.
Yeah, agreed. Because all you have to do is hold your breath when you're dead.
Mm-hmm. And they can edit out the breathing if they want to.
I suppose. They usually do.
There is an interesting technique used by Jano Schwark. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. On Night Gallery. He had several corpses, or actors pertaining to be corpses, sitting around a table in an episode called A Death in the Family. And he had them all stay as still as possible, but he overcranked the camera when he filmed it. And so overcranking the camera, and then you have people staying as still as possible, then you project it at, or you run it at normal speed, they're absolutely still. No reason to fear seeing any movement at all.
Oh, okay. So that makes it a little easier for the actors.
It was a neat technique because all these people they're all posed, but they're all dead.
Oh man!
Sitting around this table.
Somebody should have told the director of this episode about that technique. That might have helped.
When you have the thing is they had to stay still as characters moved around them. But in the Night Gallery segment, that wasn't the case. It was always focused on the corpses.
Well, that's really cool. So Kirk sabotages the transporters so that he doesn't have to go to the planet's surface.
And of course, we all know
sabotage.
Yeah, sabotage. And we all know that the Enterprise, because there's only one transporter set, therefore on the ship, there's only one transporter.
Wait, aren't there 4 how many?
There are several, but the thing is, Kirk only sabotages the one, and so they just go to another one. But since there's only one set, there's only one transporter.
Oh, right. But you know what, though? It kind of makes sense because it's hard for these guys to get around the ship. So maybe they're just like, oh, we got to use this transporter.
Yeah,
otherwise we have to crawl around in the Jeffries tubes.
It's the closest transporter to the bridge, I guess. So
can I ask a basic question? Because I was under the impression that there was one transporter room on the original Enterprise.
Well, that would be illogical.
Well, how? Okay, I'm asking specifically because I know in Star Trek: The Next Generation they say go to transporter room 2 or transporter room 3 or whatever. But like the original Enterprise, it has one transporter room. That's what I thought. Like, am I mistaken?
There's one transporter room because there's only one set, and it's fine. It's just ridiculous because that would be so inefficient on a huge starship with 232.
Well, who has the blueprints?
Yeah, it's a logical question, I think.
Yeah,
I feel remiss in not knowing. But I thought that the NCC 1701 had but one.
Well, I mean, we'll have to go with that because that's, but it just, I just thought it was a little weird.
Well, and I just want to be specific. Like, I don't want to be a clown shoe over here. Let me look it up. I'll look it up. Hang on a second.
But it'd be interesting.
And Galileo 7, Kirk uses the term transporters, indicating there's more than one.
Okay.
But every other time is singular. So, it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me that there's only one transporter room, but there might be.
Why? There's only one. Well, no, I don't want to go off. Hang on a second. I'm still looking and saying use the transporters. Like there are multiple pads in one transporter room.
That's true. Was that the context? I'm not sure.
I'm sorry I brought this
Okay.
up.
Yeah. So yeah, let's
No,
just
it's interesting, and
so
I'm grateful
it
you
is.
did.
Oh goodness
Okay.
gracious. Okay, but right, I shouldn't get too bogged down on that. Let me carry on. Someone else is researching into the topic now, but we think there's just one. I think there are more.
Yeah,
there's a crew of 400 on 1701. Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Calvin. Turbo lifts take the inefficiency out of the equation.
430.
No, but they can't use the turbo lifts because of the speed.
I said 232. It's 432. Yeah, I stand
Franco
corrected.
thinks there are 3 transporter rooms.
Well, and internet people seem to be under the impression that there are 4.
Yeah, I always heard 4, but now I'm just completely unsure. Elon pays by Star Trek says James Concerted.
Well, there might be 4, but we only seen the one transporter room. Now in the next gen, you see a heck of a lot more transporter rooms.
Right.
For sure.
And
yeah, well,
these
they
signs,
number
same
them.
way.
They're a little more clear.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So multiple transporter rooms. So the point stands. I apologize for interrupting.
No, that's okay. It was a very interesting tangent. It's very important that we get this kind of stuff right, you know?
Yeah, man. I don't want to be a faker.
Yeah. What he said.
Well, but you're a Commodore. You have the uniform and everything, yo.
That's right. He has the dress uniform.
You should know this.
Right.
Who are you, Commodore Stalker? Come on.
Commodore Boom.
Newly accelerators to our level are sensitive to cell damage.
He did not damage that when you did.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's why I made a clip of that. That was a point that really bothered me, is that Kirk thinks he was responsible for Compton's death. Like, because Rael says, you damaged him and now he's dead. Like, essentially is what he says. And so that's never resolved.
Yeah.
Rael's never like, oh, by the way, Compton wasn't your fault. It was mine.
Well, but like he's just looking at the crew of the Enterprise as livestock. Like,
yeah, he is. You're right.
So,
but now,
I killed one. There's only 400 more.
But the one crewman dead. Kirk ends the episode thinking it was his fault.
Oh. No, I blame Compton.
Yeah.
As usual.
Okay.
It's all Compton's fault.
It is. This entire episode is Compton's fault.
This entire Alan Trioscillator. Hey, the writers generally wrote as if there were one transporter room, but there are many such rooms in both the primary and secondary hulls per the blueprints and tech manual. Which is, I guess it's a little difficult because none of those are exactly canon. But I like the blueprints and the tech manual, so
they're canon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go.
They're canon because
Stone Racket.
They were published during Gene Roddenberry's lifetime, and he had approval.
You know what else is canon to Star Trek is Pretty Maids All in a Row, also written by Gene Roddenberry.
No, that's a different. That's a different. Yeah, that's a different universe.
It's true. It's a universe with Telly Savalas.
Commodores get that rank when their marbles have gone, says Franco Walker.
Oh no! Wait a minute.
Thanks, Franco.
Them's fighting words.
Yeah, really.
Some people have an aptitude towards administration.
Come on, Franco. Come on, come on over here. Let's talk about this marble stuff. Come on.
Yeah, we got to get Franco on the panel because I have a beef with him too.
Ooh.
Oh.
But I don't remember what it was.
I mean, you know what? Then it's really important. You should bring it up.
It was something in the chat one time. We were going back and forth, just kidding around. And
you read the chat? Weird.
Well, this is when I wasn't on the panel. I was just living in the chat.
Oh, I gotcha. Oh, well, I hope you figure that out one day.
You guys
but what's going on
monkey
here?
Motors.
Yeah.
Hey, I love this. This is a great shot. This is such a great.
I like the way this was shot. Judd Taylor did a good job.
The the cinematography and the framing of this seduction scene, which is essentially what it is actually rather intimate, and I appreciate the characterization of both that both actors are presenting.
While this seduction scene is happening, McCoy is working faster than ever, breaking records, finding an antidote for all this, for the Scalosian water pollution.
Do we find out what happened to the water? Like what happened to the water?
She talks about
well, it's like radiation.
Yeah, it makes sense. Everything's radiation.
Yeah. There were volcanoes that exploded everywhere, released all this radiation that ruined everything.
Exactly.
Delightful.
That's all we get.
I believe, it's the phi in the sci-fi.
Mm-hmm. Are you married, Captain? No family? No attachments? I know. You're married to your career, and you never look at another woman.
Well, if she's pretty enough, I'll look.
Hubba hubba.
And hey, Mad G's back.
Hey, Mad G.
I'm sure that was also a consideration. I think Gene Roddenberry wanted there to be a discussion of the situation before they beamed down. Okay.
Do you have another frame of her combing her hair?
What? What kind of
We're
weird
not there
fetishes
yet.
are this?
Well, it's a Outer Limits reference. I wanted to quote.
But even then, when you're combing your hair,
when a woman combs her hair,
damage.
Let me finish.
Okay.
When a woman combs her hair, she imitates the motion of the stars. What episode is that from? The Outer Limits, the original series.
Tell us.
The Man Who Was Never Born, and it was spoken by Martin Landau.
Ooh, Marty.
Very cool.
It just made me think of that frame that you had there, and I just thought of it. So
nice.
So I still can't. So you're saying that if you're a Scalosian who's been drinking the water for a long time, you are no longer susceptible to the cell damage death?
Yes. Eventually, they establish only people newly having to deal with accelerated time have the cell damage problem.
Okay. But even then,
30 to 90 days tops, and then you're
free. We just have to guess. We just have to guess how long it takes to get acclimated.
Yeah. And also, it's Kirk.
Hey, Kirk. And since it is Kirk is kissing her, trying to get her weapon away from her. And she's like, no, you can't have that. But I would have been disappointed if you hadn't tried.
No, don't scratch him.
I know.
All I have to do is scratch you.
And he flinches.
Yeah.
Oh, the performances are stellar.
Yeah. Top notch.
Definitely.
And of course, Shatner was having a blast with Kathy Brown here.
Well, she's sure that he's just going to succumb to the compliance, whatever it is. I have no idea. They don't really explain why.
Hello,
suddenly
Lemon
you're
Pie.
okay with it.
Hey, Lemon, what's up?
Like, they don't like it at first, but eventually they're all right with it.
Jill?
Yes?
Say hi to Lemon.
Hi, Lemon Pie.
Thank you.
Also, Ben Frail says she wants to get her claws into Kirk.
Ooh.
Most definitely.
Yeah. She has to be careful with that. Sensitive in this accelerated time. And speaking of accelerated time, Spock is continuing his investigations, and he's realizing that he can slow down, speed up the tapes in order to understand them, and if he speeds them up enough, they sound just like the buzzing insects.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it weird that no one else no one else hears. Like Kirk is the only one who hears the zzz.
No, Spock hears it.
Does he as well? Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a reaction from McCoy at one sequence to the
Well, even
buzzing?
Bones says I've been hearing that since we came back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so everybody hears it. They just respond to it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And McCoy finds a tape that has that buzzing sound. So they slow it down and they get to see Kirk explain everything. So we see several scenes again because the crew members need to be informed. And so they learn. Oh, can we find some way of coping with theirs? We can't work on their level. So yeah, because Scotty's just like, let's just blast it. Nope, we can't do that.
Out of the nowhere.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Where is it? Do I have it? Maybe I didn't make that.
Oh.
I would say that you sabotaged the transporter to buy time.
Well, yeah.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. I didn't play these videos either.
The water was polluted. Radiation was released. So we had to mate outside our own people.
Mm-hmm.
But accelerating them to our level burned them out.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that you sabotaged the transporter to buy time.
You seem to be moving very slowly, Doctor.
Oh, and that's the point where he's taken the Scalosian water.
And he also, on his person, he has the antidote.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, McCoy figured that out in record time.
Of course, it's McCoy.
They don't explain it as Scotty is standing there at the transporter door during all these scenes, but in real time, he's all over he's on the bridge. So I don't.
He's everywhere. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, and I just don't know how to explain that, but I'm glad you mentioned it.
The infamous post, you know what, scene.
Yes. Yes. Well, the producer, they managed to slip past the censors that Deela and Kirk just had sex, because they absolutely did. She's combing her hair. He's putting on his boots. And we get a little bit from 365. I'll read it. Throughout his 5-year mission, James T. Kirk seduced a woman in every port, or at least it seems as if he did. But in movies and television of the day, such activity generally remained an open question without visual proof. Up until this point in the series, the closest viewers got to said visual proof was in Bread and Circuses, when Kirk was given a beautiful slave, Drusilla, to use as he wished on the night before his scheduled execution. The pair kiss, the camera pans up to an oil lamp, and then the shot fades into a very similar one, except that lamp has burned out. The camera shifts to Kirk asleep on a cot, alone, and fully clothed. That's about as much as NBC's ever-vigilant standards and practices department would permit in those days. It was an era desperately clinging to the mores of the 1950s, even as the sexual revolution was taking place outside the studio gates. But something seems to have changed in the year that transpired between Bread and Circuses and A Wink of an Eye. For apparently, while the audience was presumably distracted by cuts between scenes showing activities going on other parts of the ship, Kirk and Deela did it. The proof is in the sign of the shoe, or rather the boot. Kirk is sitting on the side of the bed, pulling up his boot. Deela is nearby, fixing her hair in the mirror. It's clear they weren't playing three-dimensional chess. It is undeniably the most tantalizing moment in all of Star Trek, but viewers are forgiven if they missed it. Given the circumstances, it was all over in the wink of an eye.
I would say that since Laugh-In was on NBC and they got kind of naughty, maybe that attitude shifted for Star Trek as well. Maybe they could be a little more daring. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Alan Trioscillator says some of the published TOS ship decks blueprints were displayed on a screen in Star Trek the Motion Picture. My guess is they chose that route instead of making refit interior blueprints. Oh,
There you go.
neat. Oh, well, that's really cool.
So now it is definitely canon.
Yeah. At least everything we see in the motion picture is 100% canon. Any of those blueprints shown on that movie.
Alan,
Very cool.
here comes through.
Yes, thank you, Alan. Darius Munchausen says,
I didn't want to say that.
Coitus.
Yeah.
Well, that's a word. I'm totally
Post,
fine with
you know
words.
what?
Edge of time.
Oh, that edge of time.
Were those blueprints with no toilets?
No, I think they did have. I think they did have that in the blueprints. A little area for their bathroom.
Darius Munchausen continues. Fade to black. Fade in. Kirk is smoking a cigarette. His paramour brings him a sandwich. Will you send me a subspace communication later?
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Go. So, and it might actually not have been the end. They might have gone on further. This might have been a marathon session, but Rael interrupts.
Okay, here's the pillow fight. Kirk, get the pillow.
Pillow fight, chair fight, all kinds of
fight. That's right. He grabs the cushion and then
and he grabs that chair behind him.
Yeah.
Then the girls daps him. Twice.
Yeah, it took 2 zaps.
Took 2 to stop that ding dong.
Yeah.
There.
Or she had her on a lower stun setting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Kirk was really lucky he didn't get any cell damage from this.
Yeah. That's once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I got both of them too. There's the second one.
Yeah. Awesome.
And now he'll drop to the ground.
Deal is a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is close range, but yes, she is.
Yeah.
Notice how she didn't seem to be too upset that they were fighting over her, as usual.
Yeah, well, we know that Rael loves her, but does she love him? She doesn't really seem to care too much.
Damn.
No, but I don't mean to sound sexist, but I think women get off seeing 2 men fighting over them.
I don't know. I think that her emotions are kind of messed up because of the fact that she has to mate with other alien species. Well, she doesn't have to. Like, she just needs the material, but it seems to be the way they're going about it is the actual act. I don't know. They don't explain it. They don't explain a lot of things in this episode. And so Kirk's pretending that he's accepted his fate. And does anybody believe it? Ever?
It's just a toy.
Believes it.
It's clever Kirk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, at least it is a little fun that Kirk tricks her. In the silly episode, I'm glad to have that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favorite lines. Am I behaving incorrectly?
Well, and it's kind of disappointing to Deela because she says, maybe that's why I liked you so much, because you were like him. And so that's the only indication we get that she loves Rael at all. That's the only line.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for stepping away so much, Jill. I apologize. There's a lot going on at Casa del 37.
Oh, everything's fine. Whenever you step away, I'm able to continue the show, so you're okay.
whenever I'm not interrupting, everything goes better. I agree.
It goes faster. It goes
does.
faster.
Well, it goes in a wink of an eye,
I
from what I
wouldn't say,
understand.
yeah.
Shut up, Scotty.
That was
Sure, Jan.
Sure, Jan.
And so there you go. McCoy's got the
McCoy, Will McCoy.
McCoy, and we
will
got
solve.
the antidote.
Yeah. By golly, Jim, I believe I can cure a rainy day.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's Devil in the Dark.
You got it. He cured the Horda.
Mhm.
Oh, and it was just recently, in remembrance of DeForest Kelley. It was just recently
His birthday.
Yeah.
It was his birthday a few days ago on Saturday.
D. Kelley, legendary.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, January 20th, and he's the greatest.
Favorite character in Star Trek for me, Dr. McCoy, shortly followed by Chief O'Brien.
So the Scalosians, they're beaming down to the surface. The others have been beamed down anyway, except for Dila and Rael. And so Rael's turning on the freezer.
The deep freeze.
And it's time to leave your pretty ship. So I got that.
Well, come, Captain. It's time to leave your pretty ship.
She enjoys using the word pretty.
Mm-hmm. But Kirk steals her weapon and meets up with Spock. And wordlessly, they save the day and destroy the device.
And Scotty is still stuck in the door.
Yeah,
He's stuck in time.
Yeah, but you think he would move just a little bit into the room by this time.
Well, that's the thing that's inconsistent throughout the episode is how fast time correlates to real time. They demonstrate it, but it doesn't really seem to follow any set pattern.
Look out.
Well, but in terms of the storytelling, they do establish it very well early on in the episode that you kind of allow it and dismiss it as the episode proceeds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, maybe that's just my impression and maybe it's just my forgiveness of it. But
No,
I think that they do such a good job very early.
Yeah, I agree. I see what you're saying, and
Well,
I'm sure that's what they were thinking too. We could
and
get a
that's
little
the
away
intent.
with a little more.
But the Mark Cushman book gave me a little clue when somebody in the production said 1,000 times. And so I did a little math, which I'll reveal in a little bit.
Okay.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
It's, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, it's an anti-derivative Jill loves math episode.
Yeah.
Oh,
Math is fun, says Jill.
And that's the power of
Good
math,
time.
people.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No,
Scotty.
sorry. I was referencing referencing
you were
Jay.
referencing Tilly.
I
Oh,
was
you're
I was
referencing
referencing Jay
Red
from
Letter
Red Letter
Media.
Media.
Oh, that is a pretty epic bit that they do.
It is.
Making fun of Discovery.
Yes. No filth on Tuesdays. I know the rules.
But I can understand why you couldn't help yourself. I forgive you.
It was so fun, though.
No, Dila, don't die.
Well, that's essentially what happens, and we come
Yeah.
to the main issue with this episode. Is that they just abandon them. Just like, okay, so they say, hey, we can freeze you and the Federation can help. But she's like, no, she refuses that. So, and Spock's not like, Spock never says, hey, why don't you take this antidote that we just figured out?
Yeah. It's just odd.
That is weird.
That would solve, well, it still wouldn't solve the sterility problem.
No. Well, maybe the crew can make some donations.
Well, yeah,
How do you mean? How do you
they
mean donations?
they would
Okay,
they would all
you know what I mean.
the
Okay.
Scalosians would take the antidote, and then
Mhm.
Scalos would become the new Wrigley's Pleasure Planet.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, they're
yeah.
down. They're DTF for sure. Let's go to Scalos. You want to get sexy? Let's go to
Yeah,
Scalos.
a sexy shore leave.
Exactly. You show up and you pretty much have to bed.
Just don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water.
Yeah, don't drink the. Well, hopefully they'll
Well,
put the antidote in the water and
yes,
chemically
precisely.
change all that. Hopefully.
Scalos becomes the Tijuana of the galaxy.
And Scotty's there all the time.
I am. Oh, you mean Montgomery Scott? Yes, he is too.
Out of the nowhere, into the here.
And Mr. Spock, is he coming too?
Sooner or
Poor
later.
choice of words, my friend.
Well, it depends.
Never mind. We don't want
what-
to. I don't want
what
to talk
the
about it.
Skolos
I don't want to talk about
wants to. Scalosians need.
This is a very horny episode. It's
It
not my
is.
fault.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. What is your job though is to rate this episode. Tell me what you think about it and what grade do you give it?
I give it a B. This was an episode that I was very much dreading because I thought it was going to be boring and stupid. And I was, it was science adjacent. I enjoyed it. The characterization is interesting to me. The third season is always I've been told so many times that all of these episodes are terrible. And so when I watch them, maybe it's just the low expectations that I have for each episode that they're not that bad. What was last week's episode?
Plato's Stepchildren.
Yeah, that one sucked. But like aside from the cultural significance of that particular episode, like I've been so happy with the rollicking space adventure of my favorite people. And so I really enjoy this episode. It's a B. I think that it does fall down, but it's an adventure show. Like it's a science fiction adventure show. I agree with the elements of horror and captivity and the separation. The characterization is something that is representative not only of the growth of these characters, but also represented in the films that are subsequent to the cancellation of the series. I love this. This is so great because watching season 3 and this episode specifically, every time I go into a season 3 episode, I'm like, oh, this is going to suck. And I really like all of them, except for Plato's Stepchildren. F that episode, much like Compton. Actually, I'm going to give it a B-, and the minus is because of Compton.
Fair enough. Great review. Thank you. And Jim, what do you think of this episode and what grade would you give it?
It was an interesting episode. I enjoyed it. It kind of makes you think about what happened if we have any nuclear war, all the fallout that goes into the water, what happens to the people on the planet there. And it just makes you think about what's going on. Trying to turn a ship into a giant freezer, that's interesting how they do it with a small machine that they built, but evidently that's how it's done. Plus, there's different technologies that we learned from that. They got the little neck communicator you had to push in to talk, which is interesting instead of flipping a communicator open like what Kirk and Spock does. So I give it an A, of course.
An A. Oh, right. Bird of Prey rules. Any episode of the original series is an A+.
I don't go by that rule, but I go by my
no.
rule.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised by the A, but I appreciate your A.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
And pop culture curator, what grade would you give this one?
I'd give it an A. I enjoyed it. Thinking about it, how it could have been handled differently. It's too bad they didn't ask for help rather than trying to use hostile force to take over the Enterprise. They may have gotten help. And by that way, they may have gotten assistance to where their race didn't just die. Because that's pretty much what happened is they were doing all this because they were struggling to live. And at the end, they just gave up and said, no, I guess we're just going to die when we accept our fate. And it's too bad because, like was brought up, if the Enterprise, Dr. McCoy pretty much came up with the antidote. They could have seen, it may not have worked on those collisions because they had been accelerated for such a long time, but it would have been nice if they mentioned it or at least tried it. But, it's another episode we've seen it on Star Trek before where it's a dying race and they accept their fate. It's too bad they had to do it using shady shenanigans, I guess. But I give it an A. I enjoyed it. And thank you for having me here, Jill.
You're welcome. Very good. And I have a few ideas on that I'll get to after we hear from Stone Racket.
Well, I apologize in advance here. I hate to be that guy, but I gave it a C. I just, like I said earlier, you got to check your brain at the door to really enjoy the episode. And there's just too many gaps in logic, and it's more fantasy than science fiction. And it avoided getting a D due to the chemistry between Deela and Kirk, and I think that saves the episode in my book. But it's a fun episode. It was fun revisiting it. Like Scotty, I had forgotten a lot of the episode.
Oh yeah, me too.
But there's certain things I did not forget.
That's the only thing I remembered.
Yeah, it's like Adela, her outfit, and the infamous scene between her and Kirk. But yeah, I still gave it a C, simply because of the shabby way of editing in some respects, and the loose ends, and reading Mark Cushman's book, it just made things even worse. What they could have done with the script, but I'm kind of biased when it comes to the third season. But this one was not as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah, me neither. I was expecting worse. So
it's fun. I mean, it's definitely enjoyable. It's, which I can't say for the previous episode. This one kind of makes up for that previous episode as far as the enjoyment factor.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But,
yeah,
that's my review.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna give my review and my grade, and then I'm going to get into the math. So, would a devastating encounter with radiation leave you sterile? Yeah, I could. Yeah, definitely. Would it also, for no discernible reason, cause you to live in a hyper-accelerated existence alongside others that stay in normal time? I don't know. I don't think so. For whatever reason, it seems like a impossible existence, even when they just try to hand wave it away by saying, oh, they made some adjustments to the Enterprise to make everything work. And don't ask us how. It's completely, absurdly impractical. And it must be, I mean, I don't know. It's just, and it must, like Stone Racket was saying, leave your brain at the door. Definitely is. This one's more fantasy than science fiction for me. It's a little bit silly. Given how fast they're accelerated, the crew in the normal time wouldn't have much time to do what they actually do to save the ship, which I'll explain in a minute. Which is, I guess, why they never bothered to say just how much faster they are, because I'm not supposed to be thinking about that. But the Mark Cushman book gave me a number, so I'm going to use it. So I'm just supposed to think about Kirk and Deela and their relationship and how the crew works together to solve the issue, which is nice, and I do like that. So I do appreciate those aspects, and I always love when Spock is on the investigation rampage, and he does that very well. But this one just doesn't excite me too much, and it kind of disappoints me in the way that he teases with the dialogue that the Federation wants to help, the Federation is going to help, but the end of the episode completely contradicts that notion, and they just abandon them. They're just like, okay, you're just gonna go die now. So I guess someone just forgot to put the Star Trek ending at the last moment because they don't consider giving them the cure or testing the cure. I know that there's a point in the episode where they said we tried to go back to normal time, but we died. But we don't know what method they tried, if it's the same as the one that McCoy came up with. So they could at least try. Spock could at least beam down the medicine. But I guess with only 5 survivors and a species left, there isn't much genetic diversity to rebuild the species, so it might have been a problem anyway. Without cloning, maybe they could do some cloning. I don't know. As I mentioned earlier, the crew can give donations rather than having to be in a deep freeze, standing by. So, but that's the end of Deela, and the end of anybody using the Scalosian water to become super fast in a hyper flash, whatever.
Can I just so essentially what we have is a fully industrialized planet that the Federation can colonize. It's just there.
It's just there. Yes.
Okay. It just works.
Well, they're all going to die out, so it's going to be
exactly.
and then they bring the antidote and cure the planet instead of doing it now. See, that's my only problem. If Spock had, so I give this one a C+. If Spock had given the Scalosians the antidote, I would have given it a B.
Yeah, but Jill,
yeah,
you give it a C+. Can I remind you of Crewman Compton?
Okay, fine. I give it a C.
Thank you.
But so you know what? I don't even.
You can give it a C+. I'm just being a jerk.
No, it's okay. No, C makes sense. I can't even blame Gene Kuhn for this ending because he wanted to give it a happier ending where McCoy did figure out their mating issue. And so for whatever reason, the creators of this episode decided no happy ending. It's more poignant if they all go to die. I don't get it. But the episode was entertaining, and plus it did give us classic Star Trek teamwork methods, even though much of the whole hyper acceleration doesn't make too much sense. And okay, so the Mark Cushman book gave me a clue to the math in this episode. So
yes,
I forget who said it in the book, but someone suggests that they're going 1,000 times faster than we are. So given that, we know that a kilosecond is 1,000 seconds. And so that's equal to 16 minutes and 40 seconds. So by this estimation, every 16 minutes that passes in accelerated time, we have 1 second in our time. So how long does this whole plan by Deela take? We don't know. So we have to guess that too. So I decided to guess 10 hours, giving us 36,000 seconds. And that would give the crew 36 seconds to figure out what's going on. So they got to find the antidote, let Spock send himself into hyperspeed, and rescue Kirk with the antidote. And they got to do all that in 36 seconds. Yeah, see, that's why I was saying throughout the interview, McCoy finds this antidote in record time. That doesn't seem like enough time. So let's instead give our crew a much more reasonable and episode appropriate 30 minutes of time to do all that. So when you give them 30 minutes, then just take what I just did and I turn it into an algebra equation with x over 1,000 equals to 30 minutes. So 30 minutes times 60, we get 1,800 seconds. And so that will equal to 1,800,000 seconds, which is 330,000 minutes, 500 hours, or 20 days. So the aliens have to be messing around, playing darts and chess or whatever, and just having fun for 20 days of their time on their own plan, wasting time in order for our crew to have a reasonable amount of time to win.
So
But
what's the speed? Like 1,000,000 times? They're moving 1,000,000 times faster than
no,
us?
1,000 times. No, well,
That would
somebody
be
in the
the
Cushman book
appropriate.
said 1,000 times. Yes.
No, but that's yeah. So, but it would be more appropriate if they were moving 1,000,000 times faster, or do they have to be like hundreds of times faster? I don't.
They would have to be. That would have to be slower for them to have more time based on the way the episode is framed.
All right.
Are
Well,
you saying that Jill is a witch to Mr. Miles? Wait a minute, what happened?
What?
Oh, Mr. Miles says math equals witchcraft. And Eric Carroll says, I have no complaints about this one. All right, so I'm missing out on some chat. So I'm going to go back and read those. Where was I? So there you go. And Darius says, I'm sorry, but I'm married to the Enterprise.
yeah.
And there's the ring.
Oh, and Scotty R37, Mr. Miles wants to know, I wonder if that means that I'm Scotty's favorite viewer, saying as I share the name with O'Brien.
If there are no follow-up questions, Mr. Miles, I will say yes.
And Alan Trioscillator lets us know the blueprint shows a toilet behind the panel to the right of the bridge's primary display, with a gangway going down the deck next to the toilet. That gangway is the second way off of the bridge.
I was curious about that, Alan. Thank you so much. And
So
it's
now,
also, well, it's interesting because the Annexo one from Enterprise, it has a fireman's pole behind the view screen. So you can get off the bridge quickly and efficiently.
But now if you're on the Enterprise, you know where the bathroom is.
Well, and also don't forget, by the time we get to the animated series, there is to the left of the view screen, there's an additional turbo lift.
And Keith E says, done working? Just making a comment from a few minutes ago. In the late 60s, the country was out of control, and the comparison of Star Trek, the laughing being promiscuous, is very true.
Well, the late 60s were a tumultuous time. As Leonard Nimoy said in many interviews, may you live in interesting times. As being, and I don't know if it's misappropriated quote, but as being an old Chinese proverb. And so, yeah, no, the late 60s were.
Oh, hello, Devil Flyer. He says,
Hello.
Looking good.
Thank
Hey,
you.
great to see you. Jill just got home from the stores. Oh, okay. Penny got home from the store. Excuse me.
Hi, Penny.
Hey, Penny. And Franco Walker wants you to remember to please subscribe, share, hit the like, and select live chat. Thank you, Franco. Definitely, please subscribe. I've got some plans for 700.
Oh, yeah, congrats.
Yeah. Well, I'm at 600 now. But
apparently you had like a 600 subscriber show.
Yeah, you were there. You know,
That's
remember?
what I'm told. That's what I'm told.
She can cast as many spells that she wants to.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I did. I had fun for this episode. I got to do some basic algebra, so that was nice.
That was
I enjoyed it.
Very illuminating. I don't
right,
feel.
we done?
I don't feel so bad about my seat.
Yes.
I gotta go.
Okay. Well, I still need to say how many. I still have to show the poll from the chat, but if Scotty's got to go.
Oh no, we should do the poll and then I gotta
go.
go. No, do the poll and
well,
then
you can go whenever you want.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is I want to go after the poll.
All right.
Thank you.
Scotty's on the poll.
I am. I'm a dancer.
Well, it's for medicinal purposes.
Only.
Oh, bye.
Oh yeah, I have the.
Wow.
Hey, yes.
40 votes.
Yes, sir.
I only use it for medicinal purposes.
I had a wee bout of shore leave, which is appropriate.
Oh, I still need to get
considering-
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ended the poll. 40 votes. That's really great. Perfect.
That is great. Thanks for voting, everybody.
Yes, thanks for voting. And so we've got 44% gave it an A, which is really cool.
I do
37
appreciate.
gave it a B.
Yeah, I appreciate that the B's were 37 in my namesake.
Of course, that was just for you. Everybody
That was
made
just for
sure-
me.
Everybody made sure to vote exactly so that B would get 37%.
It's flattering, and thanks everybody.
And match your review since you gave it a B.
Minus.
It's
Fuck you,
all about
Compton.
you.
Sorry about
Anyway,
the swear.
I'm just... Okay, so C, the C range, we got 12% for C, and only 5% gave it a D to an F, which doesn't happen a lot for Star Trek. Usually nobody gives D's and F's. So
Well, Gorilla was here.
Yeah, Gorilla was here.
Oh,
and I would understand that. I don't fault anybody for giving this episode a D or an F.
No. But again, my heart swells for this, and I did have such a low expectation for it that season 3 always exceeds my expectations, except for Plato's Stepchildren and Compton. Anyway, thank you.
I didn't like it too much, but there were moments. Plato's Stepchildren had its moments.
But I do have to take my leave. First
Yes.
things first, I have to ask Pop Culture if he's watching The Running Man tonight.
Pop Culture Curator, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Both questions? Are you going to be doing Running Man this evening?
Yes, sorry, I've got the stupid recording going on the phone. But yeah, tonight, Running Man at 7 p.m. Mountain Time.
Nice. All right, cool. I have to go watch The Running Man. That's part of the reason why I have to go. And if I may invite myself, which I just did. Also, if you guys are fans of the television show Fargo, come check out the Phantasmagorium, because me and my friend Kat have been talking about Fargo for quite a while. We did the first season, we did the 5th season, we did the movie, and now we're going to be checking out the 4th season with Chris Rock and Jason Schwartzman and Jesse Buckley, and we're having a blast with it. And so if you're a fan of that particular television show, then come check us out over there. I'm also on the Twitters, also known as X. I'm an X-Man.
Twitter.
And it's always such a pleasure to be able to talk about this with you, Jill. And I'm getting nostalgic for the show that I'm currently on, because I know 3rd season, last season, I really...
There aren't too many episodes left. You're not wrong.
Well, there are more than enough for me to enjoy, but I do appreciate you having me along on this particular journey. It's great. Boldly going where a couple of people have gone before, but I enjoy going there with you guys. So I will see you in the future, and thank you again. I'll talk to you. And bye, Lemon. And Mr. Miles. Mr. Miles, thank you for being my second favorite O'Brien.
Yeah, speaking of which, he says Plato's Stepchildren was awesome. We got to see Shatner act like a horse. Outstanding performance. It took me a moment to realize it wasn't a real horse on screen.
I had a pony. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the future.
Yeah,
Thank
see you later, Scotty.
Bye, Scotty.
R37.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
No, he's
And
gone.
there goes Scotty R37. One of a really, really great co-host. And I have a lot of fun talking to him. And I'm so glad he was here to talk to us about Star Trek. And so Keith E says, I'm beaming down. See you all in the next adventure. Okay, see you later, Keith.
And the next adventure is That Which Survives.
Right. Yes, that's the next adventure in production order. Stone Rocket's got it. And
Warp 14.
And when I do in the stream, I will play a trailer for that episode. Oh, Matt G wants you to remember to check out Jill's channel memberships. I do have membership streams, and they're a lot of fun. The next one is on February the 7th. Every month on the first Wednesday. Eric Carroll says my Romulan nail is not for medicinal purposes. Good to know. Franco gave this one an A.
Cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And Lemon Pie seconds the promotion for Scotty and Kat, recovering Fargo. Yeah, for sure. And speaking of promotions, could you guys tell me about what you share on the internet and what you want to share? Hold on just a second. My StreamYard's acting funny. There we go. Let's start with Stone Racket. What would you like to share?
Well, during this wonderful live stream, both of my kitty cats joined me on my lap, but I could not get a critical review or a grade from them, so I'm not sure what grade they would give this episode. But it's always enjoyable to talk Star Trek with you, Jill. I can talk for hours about Star Trek, and one day maybe you could consider doing a Mahler type marathon stream with
What? Explain.
Mahler and Mahler with his EFAP marathon streams covering movies and television. EFAP stands for every frame pause.
Yes. And what are the differences? I don't know. I review the episodes and I have slides. So what?
No, I mean just having a marathon stream. Open subject, or covering anything you want.
It sounds like a Friday show.
Yeah, that does sound like a Friday show.
Well, that's true. I haven't been on any of those except for your celebration stream. So maybe this Friday you're covering Buckaroo Banzai, so I'm looking forward to that.
We were gonna cover Buckaroo Banzai, but we lost Gary Graham, so we're gonna do some Enterprise episodes. Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know this Gary Graham. I please forgive me.
He's Ambassador Soval on Star Trek Enterprise.
And he starred in the show Alien Nation as a cop.
Alien
Nation.
Nation.
It's an actor. I was thinking it was someone in the community. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. I'm not. I am not a fan of Enterprise, so I'm not familiar enough with the actors there.
Yeah, and I understand.
Except for Scott Bakula. So.
So, Jim, what are you doing around the internet? And
well, as you see, I'm in my studio number 2. I did some acting earlier. Got to go back to do some more acting for Boone Returns, but keep on watching Commodore Productions. You never know what you're going to see. Like I said before, got a lot of stuff in a burner, and going to be pulling them out and get some more acting done. That's what I'm going to be doing today since it's raining outside. So that's pretty much about it. And like I said earlier, I'm sorry about the dogs. These damn cats. I'm going to shoot those cats. They come downstairs, knock on the door, and they say, "Hey, doggies."
That sounds a little drastic.
I'm so upset.
I'll never do that to my cats.
Okay, I feel better now.
Oh, okay. It was just a joke. Everyone subscribe to Jim's Landscape LLC, Commodore Productions, and for puppy videos and Star Trek films.
All kinds of I put up all kinds of puppy videos, and they're getting high views. Check them out. I mean, you watch a dog climbing mountain of snow out there, or just jumping as a deer.
No cat videos?
Cats are finicky sometimes, as you know. When I go upstairs, if I go upstairs, whip a camera, they get lazy. When I don't have a camera, they act up every time.
Just like a cat.
Yes, that makes sense.
And yeah, see, here we go. And that's it.
Hey, Pop Culture Curator, please tell us about your channel and what you have going on.
Tonight on our horror sci-fi stream, we're going to be doing The Running Man, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Tomorrow night, 2 episodes of Gilligan's Island from season 3. That'll be at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Saturday night, we have Open Topic, Open Minds, Rumblings from the Lab. And Monday, we will be covering once again the classic Lost in Space. We're on season 2. Prisoners in Space.
I show up on that. And so
I know, and it's fun. And it's even more fun
That's
with you there.
Yeah, and I enjoy experiencing this series for the first time. Lost in Space is adorable.
Yeah, well, it's great, and like I said, you make it all the better because your insight with your fresh views, because you had never seen it before. You and Gorilla
right.
Makes it really interesting.
Yeah, Gorilla and I haven't seen it, and then you and Stone Racket and PvP have seen it.
Yep. But thank you for having me on today. Yes, we did.
And I grew up with Lost in Space as well.
Oh yeah, well there you go.
Oh yeah, all those old folks.
Mm-hmm. Buck Rogers, Get Smart, all that old stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff in the '60s. I'm thinking about
the Monkeys. Yep.
Hey, hello to Rod Thunderheart. Great.
Rod Thunderheart.
Good to see you there, Rod. What's up? But thank you for having me, Jill. It was so good to be able to be here and not miss the stream.
Yeah,
it's great to have you back, Pop.
Thank you.
Sure is.
Yeah. Is it possible for ladies to EFAP or they E-diddle?
Oh, now wait a minute.
What is EFAP again, Stone Racket? What exactly is that?
It stands for every frame a pause. And it's Mahler
go ahead.
Yeah, Mahler, he has these marathon streams with his pals covering specific films or television.
Yeah, but I'm trying to grasp what every frame a pause means. Do you actually play a video and you pause it on every frame? Is that why they use that term?
It's kind of an exaggeration of what they do, and they take. I mean, there's been streams that are border on 12 hours talking about.
Yeah, so that's the thing is that I have 3 hours.
I've seen long streams, but I'm trying to figure out about every pause, every frame, because whenever I do that, I get a copyright strike. So I have to pause every 10
I see what
seconds.
you're saying. Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out
exactly.
I'm not trying to figure out what a marathon is or what a stream is or what a long stream is.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out what you mean by pause every frame.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I their streams, they'll play a little bit of what they're covering, and they'll stay on on a frame. But that's a good question. How does he get around the strikes?
Well, I was starting to get copyright claims for just my stills as well, and I added watermarks, and so the watermarks are helping. Maybe he has a certain way that he's presenting
I think he probably does. And I'm not a fan of Mahler.
Well, when you say every frame of pause, I film is 24 frames a second.
Just want
he literally pauses it on every frame.
Yeah, like I said, it's an exaggeration of what they do.
You just want me to stream for 12 hours, which is a thing that's just not going to happen because I've got children, so it's probably not going to happen.
Well, what you could do is after the children go to bed, we could have maybe a 6-hour stream. No,
that's true. I just don't get to sleep.
Forgive me, but Pop has that rumblings from the lab, which is awesome.
How that would happen.
We can have an open forum with.
Yeah, that's the only way that would happen. Would be a late night stream.
Yeah,
you're right. While they're sleeping, and then I end the stream and take them to school. On no sleep. That sounds safe.
No, we can't have that.
I'm just kidding, guys. Well, I'll do it on the weekend where I don't have to take them to school the next day. So it would have to be a Friday.
Yeah.
Or Saturday.
Well, Saturday that would conflict with Pop and his rumblings.
Well, no, but I mean, but the rumblings usually end at midnight, so it should be fine.
Okay.
Oh, and Christine was trying to stream. Wow, that's cool. Keep at it. I love cats and dogs. Says Erica.
Cats
Me
and
too.
dogs living together, mass hysteria.
Yeah, there you go.
Ghostbusters. Christine Hurt says, just popped in to support the stream. My thumbs up and whatnot for the algorithm. Might have to run, but thanks for the chat and stream. You're welcome, Christine. Thank you so much for
Nope.
stopping by.
Take care,
Yay.
Christy.
I hope you have a great Tuesday.
Yeah, Christine has some amazing insights.
Yes,
Sure.
she does.
Contributes in the
Yeah.
chat. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Mr. Miles wants a $12 stream. Yes, and rest in peace, Gary Graham. We will have a stream for him on Friday. Buckaroo Banzai is going to have to wait again. As Gary,
Well, that'll give both you and Tiger Stripes more time to, get your notes together, and looking forward to that commentary.
Yeah, me too. It just keeps getting pushed, but it's for an important reason. So,
Yes, indeed.
So I hope everybody enjoyed the review today. We're gonna get out of here now, and I'll play some of the videos from today, and then I'll play the preview, the trailer for
thanks
the
again,
next
Jill.
episode, which
Thank you
is
so
going
much
to
again.
be that which it survives. You're welcome, and I'm glad you guys were here. Thank you for hanging out with me.
You're welcome.
I was looking right at him, and he just wasn't there.
And they wish to impress upon us what they can do to us.
Leela, the enemy. You beamed me aboard yourself when you came up. They cannot hear you, Captain. To their ears, you sound like an insect. We move in the wink of an eye. Or are you so accustomed to being kissed by invisible women? We had to make some changes in it to adjust it to us. I wanted to keep this one a long time. He's pretty.
Those newly accelerated to our level are sensitive to cell damage.
He did not damage that when you did. The water was polluted. Radiation was released. So we had to mate outside our own people. But accelerating them to our level burned them out. I would say that you sabotaged the transporter to buy time.
Well, if she's pretty enough, I'll look.
All I have to do is scratch you.
You seem to be moving very slowly, Doctor.
Well, come, Captain. It's time to leave your pretty ship. And we will die and solve your problem that way.
Out of the nowhere, into the here.
And Mr. Spock, is he coming too?
Wait, you must not go. I am for you, Mr. Watkins.
Move.
I want to touch you.
Please continue, Mr. Scott.
But if the probe doesn't precisely match the magnetic flow, there'll be an explosion.
Please commence. I'll explain.
But there's no time. Push the button.
6 seconds. 5 seconds. 4 seconds. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1.
It's gone. The Enterprise, it's gone.
Learn all that is learnable. And the ways our differences combine to create meaning and beauty.
It has always been easier to destroy than to create.
Well, now you have something new to think about. Carry on.